You guys, sometimes I feel like Snow White out here with my birds. Well, hey friends, welcome back to my garden. If you hear construction noise, you know why. I want to walk you through the things that I'm going to tackle today. I'm not going to tackle everything, but this is real life. So little by little, we're getting through it. So today I've got 3 goals. First goal is irrigation adjustments. Second goal is pathway. And third goal is getting my sweet peas in the ground because they are hating my basement right now. It is too warm in there and they prefer to be grown on quite cold. So let's start with irrigation. I want to walk you through kind of a brief overview of the system and then jump you into the adjustments that we are making to accommodate the new pathway coming down the middle. So here we are at the back of my house, right by this terribly ugly shed, which that's a discussion for another day. We hate this shed. Hate it. It's atrocious and it always falls apart. Literally doesn't even have doors anymore. Okay, back to irrigation. This is our hose bib. Now, for some people, they can install an irrigation system during a renovation process. And I always recommend it because it is so much better looking. However, we are still unsure what we're going to do with this space. So we just ran it off of our hose bib. In fact, this line, wait, which one is it? No, it's this one. This one with the newer Beehive. This is actually the one that runs up to our front yard, which is crazy. But essentially what you can see is that we've got a pressure reducer. We have our little valve here to measure how much pressure is output. We have a 4-way splitter. And this is going to the cut flower garden. This one is going to our front yard. This one goes to the hose that we use on the upper part of our garden. And this is the one we use for the hose that's on the lower portion of our garden. Y'all, we got a lot going on here. Okay, but I wanted to bring you up here to show you. We've had this Beehive system installed for 3+ years. It's worked really well for us. We can control this when we are away on vacation with the family, or even when we're inside our house. And also what's great is it anticipates any sort of moisture coming through. So if we have a rainstorm in the forecast, anything like that, it'll also notify us of heat waves. And so we've been really happy with this particular system. It's sometimes a bear when you're trying to set it up, but after that, it's pretty smooth sailing. And it links to an app on our phone. So what we're going to do is we are going to leave this main supply line in place. I'm going to show you where the supply line goes because it's not aesthetically pleasing, but we're not about ready to rip up this entire backyard yet. It's just not in the cards. So this is what you do when you are working with what you have. So this is for those of you who are like wanting to take notes, this is a 3/4 inch supply line. So what we did is we just simply ran that 3/4 supply line up against the back face of the house behind these pots. And then literally the supply line, we didn't even bother to bury it because again, we're not sure what we're doing here. Renovation is not in the cards for this upper area. And from this point, we just dove it over the edge of the rockery and then actually buried it going out to the cut flower garden. Okay, so here we are. This is where basically the supply line daylight, so meaning it comes out of the ground right down here. So how we have it set up is we have our supply line running here along the front edge of all of the garden beds. And then from there, we have individual shutoff valves that are connected to drip tape. And those extend all the way down. And we do have a little bit of a slope to this area. So gravity does a beautiful job of taking all of the water all the way down to the end. So what we're going to do instead, now that we have this pathway, we really do not need to be watering a pathway. That doesn't make a lick of sense. So this is where we are going to cap it. And what we're kind of thinking through right now actually is I'm thinking that we might tee off of our supply line and kind of run it down the edge here. And then from this point, take off down the middle again and have my individual valves hooked up all along here so that the second half of the garden gets just as much water as this first half. So friends, as per usual, I like to lay my supplies out in a tray, especially a brightly colored tray, so that I can find them. Obviously, I'm using gloves today. I've got my Felcos for cutting the drip tape. And then I've got a couple other things here that I want to show you. The first thing is the little end butts, is what we like to call them. This is literally the teeny tiny device that closes off the end of each one of the drip lines. And so I will show you up close how I make that happen. The next thing that I have, these are the supply line valves, and I am obsessed with these things. Over here, this has the smaller barb. This one has the bigger barb. The smaller barb I have used in my veggie garden up front because I just don't need that much water flowing through it. The bigger barb is what I have used back here. This one is going into the 3/4 supply line. This one is smaller because I used a 1/2-inch supply line up front. Again, different water usage and needs. What I really love about this one is I can control what I'm planting. I don't plant this entire garden at once. I plant it row by row. So what I do is I leave these guys turned into an off position. So when it is crossing this valve, that's how I know the line is off. As soon as I plant it out, I usually hand water in any of my seedlings or my seeds, but then I turn it to an open position, and this gives me such better control over my garden, and then I'm not wasting water because we don't need to be out here wasting any more water than necessary. I'm going to jump into cutting my lines and we'll go from there. Okay, my friends, I'm going to link all of the supplies I'm using in the description below. There's a lot of different numbers floating around out there, and I don't want to confuse anyone, so I will link exact products down below. We are going to start right here. Now, what's really cool is that this drip tape has emitters every 6 inches. Which is lovely because I know I've got one here and I've got one here, and this is about where my pathway is going to be. So I'm actually going to clip this drip tape a little bit long. I'm going to clip it right above one of these emitter holes, and you can feel the plastic piece underneath it. I'm going to clip it right here. All right, now, the reason I'm clipping it above that little nodule is because this is where I'm going to feed in one of these little butt ends. Okay, now, what's interesting and also counterintuitive is you thread in the smaller end first. So what we're going to do is we're going to thread in that smaller end, and then I'm going to fold it once. I'm going to fold it twice. And then, this is where it's a little sticky, but you just fold it like so. And then it's all trapped in there. Now, what's kind of cool here is since this one is just on the other side, I actually know that my pathway is going to end right about here. I'm probably going to leave this on top of the pathway, but what is also great is these little spikes. And this is what you want on all of your lines, because as they fill up with water, they can get a little bit squirrely, and so I use these to hold it in place. Okay guys, look how awesome this is. So I don't get dirt in it, I just simply bent these up and threaded it through the cattle panels, and boom, she's done. Alrighty, so before I get this little blueberry out of here, I wanted to dig in this area really quick. I had some Franz Kafka dahlias and I had some Rocco dahlias here. And I can't remember if they didn't push at all or if they were like teeny tiny, but I'm just gonna do a cursory dig real quick in here to make sure I don't have any dahlias that are lingering beneath the soil that could potentially be viable. Also, someone had asked a question about leaving my dahlias in the ground, and yes, I did this year. I'm in a zone 8B. Technically, we're now zone 9, but I can do that. I can leave my dahlias in the ground. But I say that with the caveat that you really need to know, there's like the rules and then you have to know yourself. So for me, I know that I have really sandy soil. If I had clay soil that was waterlogged, I would not do this because water is kind of the enemy of dahlias. So because I know I have sandy soil, because I know my zone, and also I know that I had a pretty mild winter, I feel pretty comfortable doing this. Oh, the other thing is that this entire row has a thick layer of mulch on it. So it's not just like soil being pounded by water. I did make the decision to leave them in the ground. Where I think I would run into trouble is actually in the coming months. So the rest of March and April is notoriously wet here in the Seattle region. And so I think honestly, that is where much of my dahlia damage occurs. So over the next month and a half, I'm going to be pulling things out. I'm going to be potting them on, and then I will be getting things back in the ground in May after the monsoon season has subsided. And you can actually see right here, do you see how dark all of this is? This is mulch. This is my sandbox. Oh, look at that. I did have a tuber in there. No kidding. Okay, this one looks pretty busted. There's no, let's see here. Oh yeah, that's squishy. Okay, but maybe we'll see if there's any, God, that makes me a little curious. Okay, let me see what else we can do here. Okay, no tubers, but giant worms, which is really good. It makes me so happy. Okay, and that did turn out as expected. I didn't think I had seen any stems. I see some stems over here, but I didn't see any in there. So we are free to get on to our next task. I was just digging around where I was going to transplant this blueberry, and look at this. Omega dahlias. They are not the strongest dahlias I have ever seen. The tubers did not produce that well. So, but they are all firm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these inside, spray them off. Kind of actually, ooh, dropped one. I might have a pretty good eye. Let's see what else we got here. And actually, as I'm looking at the bottom, look, there's another eye down there. Okay, I think these actually might be good. So this is Omega. I'm going to pot these up and just see what happens. Is there supervision going on with that battle axe? Like real adult supervision? Okay, guys, if anyone has ever raised boys, I feel like you have to be a hardy soul for that. This is going to be the last thing I have time for today. I really did not get that much accomplished, but it feels good that the irrigation is adjusted. I'm going to pop this cute little blueberry actually just on the outside of the arbor. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think I need to dig this down a little bit more. That still seems quite high to me. Okay, down she goes. Oh, and by the way, all of these roots, including some like big ones that I had Brian's help chopping out, they're all coming from the giant magnolia behind me. So just to let you know, I am sitting about 3 feet out from the magnolia's drip line. And so that's why when you are fertilizing trees and all of that, you want to be out here because this is where the roots are most active and pulling in all those nutrients. Well, hello. It is the next day. I've already worked a full day and we're just going to get back at it again because I am so close to having this area ready for my sweet peas to go in, and I need to get them in ASAP because I've had them in my basement too long and they're getting leggy, and I should have kicked them out weeks ago, but this wasn't ready. So what we're gonna do today is I've got more of this super heavy duty kind of like row cover that we're gonna throw down. This is more industrial strength than say like landscape fabric that you might find at a home improvement store. I have raked out the walkway behind me. So what I've done is I've kind of just like gotten an extra length of fabric, and I'm gonna kind of roll it in on itself. And I'm just gonna start here at the end and pin this end in place. And then once my anemones are all done blooming, I will come and I will make the appropriate adjustments and stretch it out over here. I wish you guys could see this. This is classic filming in Seattle. I've got an umbrella over the camera. I'm trying to beat out storm clouds. No more talking. Not bad. That looks good. So this soil I've actually been working on for years. And I remember when I first started gardening and someone was like, I was like, how long until you feel like you have your soil like where you want it to be? And my friend told me that his mom was still working on their soil after like 25 years. And I just was like, crushed, because that is so long, but also like now I kind of get it, you know, like this is something that does not happen overnight, but I will say over the life of this cut flower garden, I mean, the fact that I have soil that looks like this is a lot of work, a lot of compost, and a lot of patience, but it's finally looking so beautiful. Okay, so here is the plan. I am going to plant, I've got my cattle panels here. The spacing on these is actually a little north of 6 inches. Let's hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So actually this is 36 inches. So it's pretty good spacing. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to plant, what am I gonna do here? I think I may do 2 per little net here. So update on sweet peas. I had them in the basement too long. Essentially what you should have wanted to do is as soon as these little guys emerge, you just kick them outside. They're super cold tolerant, but I did not have any bird netting protection in place. And the last time I did that, the birds ate everything and I got to enjoy 0. So what I am doing this time is they're just going to be a little lanky. So here's my strategy. I'm going to lay these out. I am going to plant all of these sweet peas. So if I have 2 coming up in a cell, I'm going to pop both of them in. I'm going to let her ride for the next week and just see who is left standing after they've been out here for a minute. The other thing I'm going to do though is I need to pinch these back. So I think probably today I'm just going to get them all planted. And then if I have time, I'll pinch them. If not, I'll pinch them probably tomorrow or the next day. So these are all my whites. If you remember, everything in a green bin is white. And I think I may be a lunatic and try to do a little ombre effect here. Okay, next we have our pinks. Okay, I think I want to go white, pink, and then I have purple, blue, and like a red. So maybe I'll do purple, blue, red on the last one. Okay, so this row has already been very well composted when I was planting the anemones and the ranuncs. And I'm essentially planting like right around them. So I'm just gonna put a little extra compost in, and then we're just gonna start going. Ooh, okay, these are looking really good. Okay, roots are not too crazy yet. That is so perfect. My gosh, that was so flawless. I didn't water these before I decided to put them in because I didn't want like super sticky clumps on my hand. I probably could have watered them. It might have been nice to have them held together a little bit. So these are coming out beautifully. I'm using the 4-cell Bootstrap Farmer little kits here. They're awesome. And what's cool is you can see the air pruning going on here with all these little slits, and I just stick my finger in there and they just come sliding out. And these roots are beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I love how I've reached a moment in my life where I look at a root system and I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty. Oh, that's nice. Okay, one more, and then I'm gonna switch sides here. Okay, and the other thing is I'm actually experimenting with this, this straw as a ground cover. It helps keep the soil really nice and cool, and I'm really digging on it. It can be a bit of a mess though, but I think the payoff is where it's at. I still have so much sweet pea planting to do, but I got 2, 4, 6 and a half arches done, or sides of arches done rather. So I'm gonna wrap it here. The rain is coming in hot. I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, say hello to your garden. And I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to untangle some bird netting. We'll see you soon.